Obviously, if it's mandated by law, it's a little bit different than the situation that we have. But if the parent and the child go in, they say, what is it you're going to do for me to be successful in the school system? And they come out with a plan. And I think that frustration is what he's trying to figure out in terms of developing this different way of thinking about the legislative meeting. What we have is our vote, and what we have is having a personal connection with these people. So for us to vote, for us to know what districts we're in, for us to identify the people that are our legislators, I think a lot of us take that for granted. We think we all know that. But every one of these workshops I go to with Marty, and granted, they've all been, in regional centers, I'm shocked over and over how few people actually know the name of their state senator or their assembly person. So that isn't just fluff. You're the first couple of steps. Go register to vote, know who those people are that are your senator and your assembly person. But the actual meat of this idea that he's trying to really trying to get it together so that it becomes more useful for people. It's another tool that we can put in our toolkits, is how he describes it. But the actual change, I think, is the meeting itself. How do we go in there? How do we present ourselves? We don't lecture to them. We don't tell them how unjust and how unfair this is. Basically, it's, okay, this is what's happened to me since the budget decisions last year. I no longer get the share of cost. I haven't been able to pay my provider what I owe her, and what can you do for me to solve that issue, to deal with that problem? Now, these staff people don't know. They don't have a clue how to do that. They don't have any earthly idea. So they're going to say, well, you should call IHSS, you should call DPSS, whatever. And the idea is to not accept that. The idea is to say, I would like to work with you to figure this out. I can come back in 3 days, kind of thing, and get some answers from you on how to deal with this. One of the things that Marty always says, if you hear yourself talking, this is not what he's describing. What you want to hear is them talking. You want to hear them saying what it is they're going to do for you. So what I'd like to do is to go through 2 sessions, and one example would be the old kind of thing where you go in and you do what we've always talked about doing. You lay out the issues and try to get them all riled up about how unfair it is, and then they sit there and they listen and they tell you, thank you very much for coming in. And then what I'd like to do is one of the other ones, and we can skip the first one. How many people here have been through legislative meetings where you've done that? Well, so there's quite a few people here who haven't. So I wonder if we could pair up people, do that again. People who've been to legislative meetings with your legislator. Okay, if I could get each of you, so you could work with this person, you're good there. What I'd like to do is pair up somebody who's been through the legislative meeting with somebody who hasn't been. So we still got one legislator labbing his mouth back there. As they will. Okay, so let's just talk about what happened. How many of you, how many people who were legislators I don't want to hear from any of the legislators right now. So the people who were not legislators, how many of you talked?
The first part, yes.
Okay, how about you guys? The people who went in to visit, so you told your story. Okay. And then how many heard anything useful back from your legislator? Anything useful? What did you hear? What did you hear that was useful? It's going to rain tomorrow or something.
Yeah, it's going to rain tomorrow. No, it was very informative. It was interaction and talking, and I got a lot out of it.
Okay, so what kind of things did you say, and what kind of things did she say that were useful?
Well, mostly it was she was telling me how to go about how they went about to putting your ideas forth in talking with your legislator and having them realize the impact that all of these the cuts and things were going to be on you. Okay, so I think at best what we got was sort of this is how you can tell us, this is how you can do it, this is how you can convince us that these cuts are going to have a serious effect on your life. So that's not a bad thing, right? I mean, that's a good thing. We want them to know how these cuts are going to affect our lives. That's true. We do that in legislative hearings. We do that in our letters. We do that in our phone calls. All that is extremely important. Okay. This particular meeting actually has a little bit of a different goal. Okay. This goal, Marty's goal in designing this thing, is to get help for you, for your problem that was created by these budget cuts, and to engage that legislator or their staff. Engage them. Get a connection with them around that problem so that they know that they're on the hook for that problem, for helping you solve that problem. Now, that's a different dynamic. That's a different way of thinking about our legislators. It's different than what the lady over here was describing. You know, describing these issues in general is a good thing, and we've all done that. And that's what we were just doing. Okay, that's what we do when we go to the legislature and testify at hearings and in our letters. But to change the dynamic of that relationship for the long run, or at least for the length of time that this guy is in office before it gets termed out, the process to do that is what we're trying to convey here. So going into the guy's office, woman's office, whatever, it's, here's what happened to me. You know, my share of costs no longer comes, and I don't know what to do. Can you help me figure that out? Stop. And it may be unjust, it may be unfair, but oh well, you don't need to go into that. And you don't need to say, you voted for this. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Basically, it's just, can you deal with me as a human being? Here's my situation. And like I said, since the staff people are generally not trained in any of this stuff, they may say, well, you know, no, I can't. Call DPSS or something like that. But again, what the issue is, you want to make them develop a relationship with you. You want to make them connect with you so that when they see your face, they say, oh, yeah, I'm working on your share costs. I'm trying to do some research. I'm trying to figure this out.